Alright, so here is my Titan build that I used to do this week's Master Challenge in Crota's End, which is the Abyss Encounter. Strand is surging, and Strand is your best friend for getting through the Abyss with grapple grenades. Also, you can be a roaming Well of Radiance with Banner of War, and constantly be providing Woven Mail to your teammates by destroying tangles or throwing tangles at yourself and them, giving everybody damage resistance. Not to mention that I am using here strongholds. Most people are using swords for the Abyss Encounter on normal mode or on master mode. That way, when you do not have a grapple to use, or you want to save your grapple, maybe there's no grapple point, then you can just swing around with your sword and bypass Weight of Darkness. So, if you saw, I previously put up a Warlock video. I actually did it on my Titan first, so that's why I'm using iterative loop here. I didn't really think about just using a Royal Executioner to benefit from the 25% extra damage from Solar Surge this week as well, on top of Strand Surge. But basically, any fusion rifle is fine if you really need to burst down a target, but it's primarily for unstoppable champions at the end. And Quicksilver Storm is doing the anti-barrier work with anti-barrier rounds from the seasonal artifact. Also, being a strand weapon, it synergizes with this build, same as Thin Precipice, because I'm using Harmonic Siphon on my for my mods, but I am also using exactly the same, I didn't even realize, as my Warlock build. Thread of Rebirth, so my strand weapon kills will produce hatchlings, basically at a rate equal to Harmonic Siphon, which is producing Orbs of Power. So basically, whenever I produce Orbs of Power with my weapons, I am getting a hatchling at the same rate, or threadling, I should say. And the threadling is going to go around and do a whole bunch of dirty work for me while I focus on getting from point A to point B as quickly as possible. Which you probably know by now that with the Abyss Encounter, you don't have time to sit there and shoot enemies or really focus targets so much. It's more just focusing not dying and getting from, like I said, A to B efficiently. And because I'm producing threadlings, Thread of Evolution will make those threadlings travel further and deal additional damage. And then generation for more grenade energy from those hatchlings, from doing any damage at all. Thread of Generation is going to be working. Thread of Warding for Woven Mail when I do pick up orbs. Honestly, probably don't need it. I would actually switch this out now that I think of it. It's just because this was my first run of the week on my Titan, and I wasn't sure how Abyss was going to be on Master, even though I did do the Abyss on challenge mode during day one and completed it, but I still wasn't sure, like, but the thing is, on challenge mode day one, we had no Banner of War. There was no Strand Titans really, because they disabled Banner of War for the day one experience. But now we have Master mode and we have Banner of War active, so Thread of Warding, you could probably get away without it because you're going to be destroying tangles for Woven Mail anyways with Into the Fray, and you're going to be getting that healing pulse from Banner of War. So I would actually suggest maybe save yourself the -10 resilience penalty and use something else, but you could definitely use it if you want. Like, it's just extra damage resistance at more times, in between the 10 seconds of Woven Mail that you get from destroying a tangle. You could literally destroy another tangle within 2 seconds, so I don't know. I would maybe run something else, like whatever you want, really. You could add unraveling rounds to your weapons. Yeah, not too sure. Threat of Ascent maybe. Doesn't really matter. But I would say this is optional. Then, as far as the combat mods that I got here, like I said, siphon mods, heavy-handed is always nice, because when I use my Frenzy Blade or my Grapple Melee to kill anything, I produce orbs. And then the orbs are going to give me 2 armor charge each with stacks on stacks. And so to benefit the most from stacks on stacks, getting 2 armor charge for 1 orb, may as well up your armor charge limit to 4, so that when you pick up 2 orbs of power, you get 4 stacks of armor charge, which is 60 seconds. So 2 orbs of power gives you 60 seconds, or actually no, it would give you 60 seconds of armor charge if you were using decay and surge mods like Font of Focus. But I'm using kickstarts here, and you actually get way more benefit out of having greater stacks of armor charge for kickstart mods. So I think 4 is like the optimal number. So when I use my grenade, it'll consume all 4 stacks of armor charge, and it'll give me back a greater amount of energy than 3 stacks would. So I'll basically get like half my grenade energy back on every grapple use. And come to mind, I'm not sure if there's any confliction there. Like if a teammate puts up a grapple point, or you grapple to a tangle or something like that, normally that would not consume your grapple, right? And so you would have a free grapple after doing that. So I wonder if grappling to a grapple point consumes your kickstart, right? Which wouldn't be bad, because you would still have your grapple after grappling to a grapple point, but you would have no more armor charge. So that'd be something to check on. I'm not sure. Yeah, and so because I'm using a kickstart mod, then I do not want to be using anything else. No other kickstarts, no other surges. I want all of my armor charge energy to go into my grenade. If I used like the one for, I think it's class insulate, the one that gives you class ability energy, or melee energy, like a melee kickstart. If I did a melee with a grenade kickstart, then those two would be at odds with each other, right? So like I wouldn't have my grenade energy feedback whenever I use my grenade if I accidentally use my melee, because then the melee would consume my armor charge, and then I'd be out of luck for my grenade, right? So I don't really want those two conflicting. So when I use kickstart mods, I just use one and focus on that one. And then obviously no surge mods, because I want my armor charge stacks to remain there for when I need to use my grenade. I don't want them decaying so that I do not have them there. So that means that I can use orb mods on my legs, so more grenade energy from picking up orbs, and a chunk of health on orb pickup. Like I said, with Banner of War and Woven Mail and all that stuff, like I don't really know if recuperation is all that necessary, but it is nice when you're on the move, and if you don't have Banner of War, it is just a good chunk of healing instantly, right? Like that is, like if I was just relying on Woven Mail, that wouldn't be enough. You would need to use recuperation, right? Because damage resistance doesn't give you any kind of healing. It just makes you very vulnerable for a longer amount of time, until restoration or any type of healing kicks in. But Banner of War is doing healing as long as I have uptime on Banner of War. Then for my class item, Powerful Traction, even though I'm not using my Barricade often, it's just kind of nice. If I do use it, it's just going to scoop up any orbs. Bomber for more grenade energy, and Reaper Again, not really necessary because I'm not using my barricade often, but if I do use my barricade, I know that my next kill is going to produce an orb of power. So why not? Like, I mean, you could go like triple bomber here if you wanted, or double bomber and powerful attraction or something. Totally up to you. But anyways, that's pretty much my build for Titan for the Master Challenge. And do I have my adept weapon that I got for doing this encounter? I'm gonna transfer it over from dim right now, which by the way, I will leave a dim link in the description so that you can just equip this build and go into Master Challenge mode. It is an easy challenge. You just can't dunk the you can't enlighten lamps more than once per chalice preservation, right? So you just have to move as a team like normally through the encounter, like sword skating and grappling, and you'll be fine. Let's see, go to my hunter. This is what I got when I did my Titan run, which I was actually pretty happy about. Sword Logic is a great perk. This could be a very good perk on a lightweight shotgun if I just want to do some ad clear. Like I can easily kill a major with Sword Logic to get, I think, ×3, which is like a 35% damage buff, and then just that'll be active for a few seconds, and we'll keep refreshing the timer on every kill. So Sword Logic is a good perk. Not something I would necessarily pick on my final version of Swordbreaker. I think I would rather have Surrounded, or I can't think of what else is on this, but this is a good roll. Like I would consider possibly enhancing this at the cost of spoils and cores and ascendant alloys. It is expensive, so I would only really recommend enhancing an adept weapon if like it is the god roll that you want. Keep in mind you could totally change the barrels and the mags at the crafting table. Like they're not constricted to just these 4. You will have all barrel options and all mag options at the crafting table. At least with the Root of Nightmares weapons, with those adept weapons, you can do that. It's just the perks you cannot change, right? You can only enhance. So I could put enhanced pugilist, enhanced sword logic, and I could put whatever barrels and mag options that I want on it. And you can't. I don't think you could change the masterwork either. It's going to be a stability masterwork no matter what, which is kind of a bummer. I'd rather have like handling or reload. So yeah, I might toy around with this thing, but hopefully get a better one at some point, or I'll just rely on my crafted normal versions. But pretty cool looking weapon. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next one, which is Hunter.